Hi everyone, my name is Kat Nowith. I am a solutions engineer here at Acquia, and today I'll be walking you through Site Studio and how it can help you deliver better digital experiences. So Acquia Site Studio is the only enterprise-grade low-code site building tool specifically for Drupal. It's incredibly innovative and extremely powerful, but what does that actually mean? So when I think of a website or an application that's incredibly innovative, all the way from the beginning of the site builder to the end, I think of Uber Eats. And Uber Eats has actually really changed the game to when it comes to ordering takeout. The old way of ordering takeout was very time consuming and it really wasn't the best user experience. I'm sure you can remember you had to go online, you need to find their menu, you have to call, say exactly what you want, you have to figure out how to pay over the phone or maybe pay when you get there. And then you have to get into your car, try to find parking, pick up the food, and it's just this whole ordeal. Well, Uber Eats has really made it so much easier. All you have to do is open up the app, you select the food that you want, you can pay directly in the app, and all you have to do is hit submit and you can just wait until your food gets delivered right to your door. So Uber Eats has really changed the way that we think about ordering takeout because it has removed all those extra obstacles that were in the way before. So what Uber Eats has done for ordering takeout, that is what Site Studio has done when it comes to site building. So what you're looking at here is the typical workflow today. As you can see, there is so much responsibility left on the developer. You know, the developer has so much responsibility when it comes to maintaining the site and maintaining the content on the site that it takes away from the more important tasks that they can be doing to actually drive more business. So the thing that we want to think about here is how can we actually leverage more of the team? So this is where Site Studio can come in. So Site Studio provides a low-code UI that actually enables designers and marketers to actually create the content themselves. They don't have to worry about relying on IT because now they are fully empowered to make these changes without having to have a strong technical background. As you'll see in the demo, by using Site Studio, you can actually empower all of your teams and also accelerate your overall time to market. So when we think about the basics of site building, you typically start off with your website settings. These website settings are things like the color palette, typography, iconography, things like that. And then once you have all of the website settings put in, you can now start to create elements. And elements are things like buttons, headers, etc. And with those elements, you can actually start to build different components. So for example, you can take these elements and make a text and image component. And then with these different components, you can start to create helpers. And this is something that I'll be showing you in the demo as well. And using these helpers, you can start to create pages. So you notice that when we start at a very granular level, we can really achieve that brand consistency. So before I jump into the demo, I just want to give a little bit of background here. So this is the site that we'll be creating during the demo. InSpace is a fictitious company, and it's sort of like a WeWork. It's a co-working space. And you'll see how marketers and site builders can actually use this or use Site Studio to manage and create the InSpace site. So a couple of the personas I'll be walking you through the demo today are from a marketer's perspective and also from a site builder's perspective. So at the top, we have Dion. Dion is a marketer, and he has a couple of things that he needs to accomplish today. He actually wants to create a landing page specifically for InSpace's new Boston location. And you'll see how he can use a helper or a template to create this page. And he's going to save this template so that he can use it over and over for when InSpace has new locations that they want to add. And then you'll see how he can he can edit this landing page in line with the help of Site Studio's page builder. And then we'll see how Kim can actually come in as a site builder and change the basic site settings. So we'll see how she can add a specific color and maybe change some colors. And then we'll see how she can change the styling of a button to really match the image that she's envisioning for the site. So now we'll see how Dion can come in and he's going to create a landing page and he's going to save it as a helper so that he can reuse that landing page for the future. And then we're going to see how he can edit that content in line so he can really see exactly what those changes are going to look like. So let's take a look at how Dion can create a landing page for the Boston office. And then we're going to see how he can create that template so he can reuse it over and over again. So what you're seeing here is the site that they have right now. They're still working on it, but this is what they have so far. And now as Dion, I can come in and add some content. I'm just going to create a landing page, and this is specifically for the Boston office. And now what you're seeing over on the left-hand side are all the different components that Dion can use to create his landing page. You can think of these as building blocks to when it comes to building out landing pages or other content within the site. So Dion's just going to start with a basic hero. And maybe he wants to add, this text and drop zone. So he can add an image in here. So let's add an image real quick. And then he's going to add a couple of cards as well. So let's add a few impact cards. He's going to add 4. Okay. Now, as you can see here, you can come down here and just quickly hit save. But Dion actually wants to save this as a helper so that he doesn't have to worry about building out this page again for maybe when InSpace comes out with new locations other than Boston. So he's going to come over here and he can save it as a location landing page helper. It's the type helper, and this is going to be a layout helper. So now that Dion has saved that new helper, he knows it's going to save him a ton of time in the future because he can just use that template for future locations. Okay, so we're going to go down here and we're going to change this to published and we can hit save. Let's give it a couple minutes. Okay. So what we just saw was how Dion was actually able to come in, create a landing page specifically for Boston, but also save that layout as a helper. So this will not only save him time in the future, but it also creates the same starting point to help with that overall brand consistency. So now let's take a look at how Dion can come in and actually edit that content in line using the Site Studio page builder. Okay, so as you can see, this is just what the page looks like when you use the drag and drop. There's no specific content in here yet, but we can actually see how this is going to look in the page builder. And what the page builder lets you do is actually drag and drop these different components, but you can actually see what it's going to look like on the page itself. So let's say that I want to add just like a basic heading right here. I can do that, and now you can see it's the heading. And he can also just quickly edit these different components. So for example, he wants to edit the hero to say our Boston location. He can add anything here, and then he can add a link to it. There we go. So Dion is able to quickly come in here and create different changes on the fly to really save him time in the long run. And he doesn't have to worry about having any sort of technical background or having to ask IT to help him with these basic changes. So we just saw how Dion was able to come in and edit content in line, and he was also able to see those changes being made in real time. So now let's take a look at what this experience would be from a site builder's point of view. So Kim is a site builder. She has a vision in her mind that she wants InSpace to look like, but it's not quite there yet. So what she's going to do is she's going to add a couple of new colors that really reflect what her vision is for the brand. And then we're also going to see how she can change a button style. So let's take a look at how Kim can come in and quickly change the basic site settings. So I'm going to exit the page builder real quick. And as Kim, I can go into website settings and go to the color palette. As you can see, there's other options here. So for example, if I wanted to change the font library of InSpace or the icon library, I could do that as well. But right now, I only really want to change the color palette. That's on my to-do list today. Okay. So as you can see, these are all the different colors that are available when you're actually creating content or changing content. These are all the colors that are available on the site. But Kim wants to add another color, and let's just call this one, or we'll call it InSpace Blue. And she wants to add just a nice light blue. This one looks okay. And now she can come in and quickly save this. The site will get re-rendered and it will add that to the color palette. So she can actually come in here, create a new color, make some basic site changes without having to ask IT for any assistance. And she doesn't have to have any sort of technical background. So she feels very empowered by this. So we just saw how Kim was able to come in and quickly change the basic site settings. She added a nice blue. That's what she thinks that InSpace should look like and really reflect. So now let's take a look at how Kim can come in and change a button style. The button style that is currently on the site just isn't really what she's envisioning for the brand. So she wants to quickly come in and change that. So let's take a look. So we're going to go into Site Studio and Styles. And she wants to change the link button style. So we're just going to go here and duplicate this. Oops. We'll call this new link button. Okay. So as you can see here, this is what I, as Kim, am looking at. You have all of your different attributes that you can change about the button here, and then it's going to get reflected on the left-hand side. So as you can see, it's this red color, it's boxy, it's just not really what I'm thinking for the brand of this site. So I'm going to quickly change the background color to this light blue that I just added. Okay, as you can see that it changed over there. And then I want to add a property, and I want to add a border to this. So it's more rounded and not as boxy. So now I can come in and create an equal radius of 24. And now let's take a look at how the button's going to look like now. Okay. Now this button is a lot more softer looking. It's got the rounded out edges, and this is exactly what I wanted this button to look like. It only took me a couple of seconds to quickly change this button and change it to the attributes that I, as Kim, really want in a site building tool. So I was able to change the site button within a couple of seconds. And again, I didn't have to rely on any sort of IT assistance or any technical knowledge. Okay. So what we just saw was how Kim can come in and quickly change a button style. It only took her a couple of seconds, and it really empowers her because she doesn't have to have any sort of IT knowledge. Okay, so throughout this demo, we really saw how Site Studio is a tool that can really bring your different teams together. As we've seen in this demo, it enables the marketers to create experiences at accelerated speeds, and it also allows site builders to have more control over site building and site management. So again, the Site Studio tool really helps utilize all of the team members, and the result is the faster time to market at a much lower cost. So now that I've finished the Site Studio demo, we can go ahead and talk about the different program engagements. So if this is a tool that you think you'd be interested in, we can definitely get in contact with you after the webinar. But for when it comes to the success engagements, there are two different paths that we can help you with. So the first one is a technical trainer. So this specific path is for those folks who have no knowledge of Site Studio, but they really want to learn more about it. So this is a hands-on technical training that is a series of engagements. It's about 4 engagements, each an hour or 2 long. We'll give you a Site Studio sandbox and we can follow along with the different engagements. So first of all, we'll go over the basic site settings. We'll go over how to create landing pages, etc. And we'll get all of those basic tools that you need to start building your site with Site Studio. And then the second path that we have is something that we call the concierge. So this is for folks who already have Site Studio enabled. They have a couple of things set up. They feel pretty confident using Site Studio, but they might have a question about how to create a specific component, or maybe create or make a basic change in their site that they're just not sure of. So these are on-demand office hours. So you just let us know ahead of time what you're trying to do, and we'll sit down with you for maybe 30 minutes to an hour to walk you through how you would go about creating that. So for example, these are the technical trainer engagements. So for session 1, we'll go over Site Studio as just like a refresher deck. We'll go over the curriculum, what you're going to be learning and expecting throughout these engagements. And then session 2 is a quick tour of the UI and the different capabilities that you can create with Site Studio. And then session 3 is where you install different iconography and typography. We'll teach you how to style a button, build a component, and also building a landing page and learning more about templates. Then session 4 is for a general Q&A. If you have any questions about Site Studio, we'll happily answer during that session. A quick conclusion, and then we'll go over the next steps. So thank you so much for joining this webinar, and we'll be reaching out to you shortly.